I am Ian Mishak, joined by my awesome host, Tyrell Payton. What's going on, my man?
How goes it, man? How goes it?
I'm just here to talk some trash about Jon Jones and disrespect his entire legacy. Well, maybe
That's
not
right.
that far.
Yeah,
But
maybe not.
all I got to say is, I don't know, fans, if you've listened to the news at all, you've heard that Jon Jones is back, or at least he says he's back, which I think we can believe him just as much as Conor McGregor is actually fighting Michael Chandler, which is not very much until we actually get a date. But, man, Tyrell, I don't understand how he's returning. It feels a little quick that he's returning from this injury because what happened at the end of 2023, right at the end of 2023 when he got hurt, tore his shoulder.
Well, he got hurt in camp. He got hurt in camp leading
right.
up to the fight for November or December, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so like maybe early fall, he got hurt.
Okay, so maybe it's not that quick, but regardless, he's coming back. He's saying, "Who should I fight? Alex Pereira or Tom Aspinall?" Interesting that Stipe is not there. I don't know. I wonder if Jon Jones is actually going to fight again. I don't think he is. If you want my personal opinion, I don't think he's fighting again. I think Tom said he's playing games. And I personally don't believe Jon. And the reason I don't believe him is because he didn't include Stipe's name. So if he is fighting again, it's probably going to be Stipe. It's kind of like addition by subtraction. Like, he didn't say the guy's name. So maybe he's fighting him. But
maybe it's negotiation tactic too. You know,
that could be it. He is very good negotiating. I mean, give it to him.
Yeah.
Do you actually believe him though? I don't know. I don't know if I believe him at all.
I think he fights this year. I do. I think he fights late this year. Do I think it's Tom Aspinall? No. I don't think it's Tom Aspinall. I think it's I think he would fight Alex Pereira for sure because that is a safer fight for him. And he knows that he can mask it and say, well, he's so dangerous. And don't get me wrong, Poatan is amazing. Like what he's done. I just bragged about him on our last pod. Or 2 pods ago, but Jon Jones knows he has a clear advantage against him.
Yeah.
And he's going to exploit that and make that fight look easy like he did with, what's the French boy's name?
Ciryl Gane.
It's the real Gane. Yeah, he exposed him. So, I think he fights, man, but I just think he goes for Poatan. And I say that because I think Tom's getting booked for the UK card coming up soon.
Yeah, and I think that he's probably fighting Gane on that, or Curtis Blades, one of the two.
It's Curtis Blades.
Yeah, you think it's Curtis Blades. I don't think Curtis survives that. I think it's a tougher fight than most for Tom, but I don't think Curtis makes it out. Curtis can't take a hit to save his life. No offense to him.
He can't. No, he can't. He can't. Sorry, Curtis.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. And with that being the case, I just don't like. You know, the thing is with 36-year-old champs, like it's like the cutoff. It's what everybody says. 36 is like it's over, like chalked, done, game over. I agree. I think that there is something to when stats don't lie. When you're like not being arbitrary, I think that you start to age, you start to slow down. Jon's 36 right now. He's no longer the spring chicken he was back when he was fighting Shogun. So I think there's something to that. I also don't know if you heard on DC's podcast at all with Chael, the good guy, bad guy, but he said he was trying to wrestle with Alex. And he said, this guy could be a world-class wrestler, and we just don't know. Because I tried my best to take him down. I was like, DC, you're also rolling with the Popeyes, so I can't really tell if you're being truthful or not. But yeah, I don't know. I think that Poatan might be a lot more difficult to fight than Jon is anticipating. Especially
which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good for him.
Yeah.
Which is very good for him. Yeah. I hope. I mean, Alex's story would be so much greater if he goes on to become a 3-division champ and beat Jon Jones. Like, knock out Jon Jones. He's the best ever. That. He's the best ever. Yeah. It's over. He's the best ever. Greatest story ever. To make a movie out of it.
I think you have to. What, this guy from like literally like the backwoods of Brazil comes out there and like does something insane.
Can't even speak a lick of English and doesn't care to. Doesn't plan to speak English either.
No, he's the Easter Island head emoji incarnate, and yet he could go out there and he could actually like make history. And not only that, he speed ran his entire UFC career if he does that. Now, if he loses, like okay, yeah, exactly.
Temple Run.
It's wild.
It's crazy. It's crazy. He played Temple Run with the UFC.
He is. I mean, and Izzy's to blame. I hate to say it, but Izzy's to blame on that one. When he had all
He
that
is.
beef building up with it.
It
But
is.
good on him, and he's won. How many fans has he won over? Just over the course of like his entire career.
I mean, yeah, it's impressive, man. I mean, I don't mind seeing that fight. I really don't. But I'd rather see Tom and Jon,
Yeah,
honestly. Interim champ versus champion. Let's stop playing around. Let's make this happen. Unless you're scared, Jon Jones.
yeah.
Are you
I think he's
scared, Jon
scared.
Jones?
Listen, man. All I gotta say is I was watching that Volkov fight and Tom Aspinall when he just took him bell to bell and just beat him up, and then seeing him beat up on what's his face, Sergey Pavlovich. Like I was like, not only is he the Russian killer over here, but he also is he's just so fast. And Jon
Boy.
is so slow. Like you can watch the Gon fight. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. He
It
submitted
had been
him.
a
Congrats.
big layoff, though. I'm gonna give him. It was a big layoff in between fights.
And this
Uh,
is not this is
for
still a
sure,
big layoff. I
for sure.
mean,
Oh, I'm in support here of Tom being a scary, scary fight for him, bro. I
yeah.
really think so. I think he knows that. He's well aware.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I think I'm struggling with it because I feel like I hate when champions are trying to duck people. That's why we always talk about Sean O'Malley trying to duck Marab. Like we can go through any division where there's a champion who's clearly trying to duck someone. It bothers us because like we're like UFC purists, and it's like we've
Mm-hmm.
watched champions take whoever comes in front of them. So when you have somebody of Jon Jones' stature, who people say is the GOAT, which I think we'll agree that he is, you gotta take who they want to throw to you, buddy. I don't need you picking and choosing. I don't need you picking Stipe Miocic, who at CTE who's like 46. I need you to fight the young man who is scary, who can do a little bit of everything, and who also is the interim champion. Take that fight,
Indeed.
Jon Jones. Beat him up, kill the new guard, and then run off into the sunset. Don't beat up Stipe. Who cares if you beat up Stipe? It's 5 years too late. 5 years too late. Maybe longer than that. Honestly, Stipe is old, man.
Yeah. I just don't like. There's no value for Jon Jones. I feel like at this point to beat Stipe. It's like, congrats, bro. Like, you beat a washed out fighter. Like, I hate to say that about Stipe. He's one of my favorite fighters, but like, he's
His
old.
prime's
He
over.
can't hack. Yeah, he can't hack it now. Like, Stipe's not going to fight again if he doesn't fight Jon Jones. And so let's let him hold the record for most consecutive title defenses, and let's let him ride off into the sunset. And let's not play with his heart anymore, because I think we've played with Stipe's heart a little bit. With Jon
Yeah.
Jones promising that fight, and I think there was even a time. Yeah, we all agreed that it was old and probably shouldn't be happening. But when it was like scheduled and booked and ready to go, at least it was exciting. Like that we were like, oh hey, this is gonna happen. And then we could finally get some clarity. But now we're in this like amorphous blob of time, and we don't know when Jon Jones is coming back. We don't know if he's going to be coming back. And if he is, definitely not the same version that he was. And I think we both could sit here and agree that Jon Jones is the GOAT. But in
Yeah.
my opinion, he could actually tarnish his legacy by not doing, by not one taking the fight against Tom, but he actually could just say, "I'm actually retiring, guys. I'm done. Like, this injury's been too much." I think we would all look at him and be like, "Yeah, this guy literally has one loss on his record that doesn't count because of a silly rule." But if he goes out
Shout out to Matt
there,
Hamill. Shout out to
yeah,
Matt Hamill.
yeah, okay. But like could walk away as the GOAT, and no questions asked. But then if you introduce the Stipe fight, people are gonna be like, "Oh, he just did it for a money fight." Okay, yeah, Jon got paid. Congrats. Or if he
Yeah.
fights any of these two young guys, there's a chance he just gets eaten up and embarrassed, because we really haven't seen Jon Jones like at heavyweight besides a quick submission against Scott. So like, there's a
Well, that
chance he has a ton to lose with this.
that lends the hand to Poetan's a better matchup for him because of that. Poetan also will be going to heavyweight for the first time, and that's maybe a more level playing field. I got a hot take for you. Maybe it's not
All
that
right,
hot, but I assume it to be hot.
let me feel the burn.
I don't think Jon Jones has ever sold tickets. I don't think he's
No,
ever been as box office as he thinks he is. And for me, he's obviously the GOAT, but you've never really moved
no,
any bricks. You don't move anything, man. You don't make people come out to buy pay-per-views. Like, and I think that's why he shouldn't have so much leverage here. If I'm Dana White and I'm booking the person who I know, so Poetan or Tom has to be next. Stipe, if Stipe was 5 years younger, sure, but like because Jon Jones does not move tickets, I'm sorry, buddy, you shouldn't have as much control as you have. I don't understand it. He's never really done great at that. I mean, him and DC had some great rivalries and they had some great, but I think DC played a big role in that because
Yeah.
DC was
Oh yeah.
meaner than mean in those lead ups to those fights. So I think Jon Jones is overplaying his hand here, man. And yeah. So I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but to
No,
me,
I
I think
agree with you.
he's never really moved tickets. And honestly, I think Dana should step in and be like, you're fighting this person, I'm stripping you, and feel okay with it.
Well, we forget too that Jon Jones's career, is one that's marked with big breaks because he's quote unquote not getting paid what he wants. It's like I don't trust Dana as far as I can throw him, but I will say as a businessman, there's a reason he wasn't paying you as much as he was, and it's not
Oh
because you
gosh,
weren't the GOAT. It's because you weren't moving the needle. I mean, to talk about DC and Jon Jones, like Anderson needed his chael. I mean, Anderson was awesome in moving, the needle because he found it at the right time. But there's an argument to be made he really didn't get mainstream appeal until he snapped off that triangle at the end because of what Chael did to help him. Like, and now Jon Jones doesn't have anybody. Yeah, he's controversial. Yeah, he's been in the news. Yeah, he's been in jail. Like all that fun stuff. But at the same time, like I I agree. He's never moved the needle, like in terms of by himself. Like he's always on an international fight week. He's always on these cards that are like standout cards that look other fighters. I'm 100% with you. But it doesn't mean that he's not a draw. It's just that I'm gonna take this a step further, Tyrell, and you can smack me later if you want. But I think Colby Covington is more of a draw than Jon Jones is. I think
I'm
tuning
okay
into the 3 fights yeah, okay.
I can accept it. I can accept that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And possibly still, even after he got beat like he did, Kobe's still so controversial that he'll put people in those seats, man. And like Colby Covington, not really a huge fan, buddy. I think you're an impressive fighter, or at least you were.
Yeah.
Your controversy can bother me, but I can't lie and say you don't put butts in those seats because you do. So kudos to you, man, for doing that because you do that.
Yeah.
Jon Jones, you don't, sir.
No.
I personally, and I'm sure you agree with this too, people that have never been legitimate champions can pack out an arena more than you. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje can pack that arena 10 times more than you can, Jon Jones. Jon Jones, they're just bigger stars. Why is that? Maybe because they're active and they take the fights. They take any fight and they're game to throw hands. And that's what we want as MMA fans. We want to watch the best people fight the best people and not complain and try to sit out forever and stuff. And yeah, man, I just think, So this is kind of where our conversation has come down to, but it's like he just doesn't move the needle as much as they think he does. I think they should just make him fight who they want or make him get out of the way. Or get out the way, bud.
I don't know how many fights he has left on his contract, but I'm sure that they're fewer than we think. And also, I think the last point that I want to put on here before we wrap up the pod is those fighters that you mentioned are bigger draws, even though like Colby Covington pisses people off because he's obnoxious. People know he's obnoxious. People get pissed off at Jon Jones because he tries to act somebody that he's not. And he's also just straight up a jerk. Like just through and through. Like you don't draw and you're not likable when you try to be somebody else that you're not. But like at least with Colby, we know that hey, there's this underlying, maybe there's a good guy down there. But Jon, we're like, you literally get arrested or police reports. Like, what are you hiding there, bro? He's too controversial.
To add on to your point here, Jon Jones's biggest gates ever are against Daniel Cormier, and in those fights, you got to see Jon Jones for who he really is. We got to see the real Jon Jones, the villain, who he is, and people are like, "Yeah, be that guy," because he's a monster in the cage. But he wants to try to act like he's just buttoned up, super religious. It's like, buddy, listen, we know it's not you. There's too many things on you, and that sounds harsh, right? I'm sure he's trying to become that person, but I think that people want you to just be your authentic self. So wherever you're at the time, be that versus trying to be this buttoned up choir boy because that's not who you are. You're not. No. And DC did a good job of pushing those buttons to make you show it. So just be that Jon Jones, and I won't complain, But
same here.
Fight Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall, and we'll be quiet.
And we'll be happy. You won't hear me chirping, but until then, he's terrified of Tom Aspinall. That's all I got to say. Terrified. Put it in writing. Put it now. So
you can't be scared of him. He's from the UK. You can't be scared of him. He's from the UK, John. You Can't be scared of him.
It's got the headphones unplugged. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I'm just talking about how he can't be scared of him because he's in the UK. You need to handle that, Jon Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Handle it. Get it together. What do you think, listeners, podcast listeners? What do you think about this? How do you feel about Jon Jones? We just kind of ragged on him for about 15 minutes straight, but you know what? It was a long time coming. So with that, if you agree, leave us a comment. If you don't agree, leave us a comment. And I'd love to hear more. Give us a like.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't, what are you doing with your life? And we'll catch y'all later.